I've been lucky enough to be around him probably for, I don't know, close to 500 games, I would think, at the NHL level. And the one thing that I do love about him, well, there's two. He's a very emotional, wears his heart on his sleeve type guy. Like, you can see the passion that he has for the game, for his teammates, for this team. And that leads to my next point. Like, there's a lot to be said about loyalty. And I love that about him. He was one guy that had an opportunity potentially to look somewhere else, but the organization means a lot to him, as it became very evident and important to him that he wants to be a real big part of it. And that's one of the characteristics or traits that I do love about him.
Can you sense the significance this morning? Is it any different being around him, this morning or there?
I feel like it's been a week. The lead up to it, he's pretty excited, and rightfully so. That's a huge milestone at the NHL level, and Jamie did a nice little video for him this morning, so it was pretty good for sure.
Earlier in his career, he battled some injuries, but he's played in every single game for the last 4 seasons. What do you think's allowed him to do that?
The work ethic side of him, I think he always feels like he's got to, at this point in his career, do more to make sure that he's staying ahead of the people that are coming to try to push him out of the game. He's won our fitness testing, or he's been at the top of our fitness testing over the last number of years. So I just think the work ethic that he puts in, how he takes care of himself away from the game, all of those things are allowing him to be a consistent, everyday guy.
Can you just talk about the rationale behind some of the line changes that we've seen?
We haven't had a lot of. I don't feel that there's been a lot of connection offensively the last number of games. So we didn't have the game that we wanted to have in Vegas. That was probably the first time this year where I didn't like our game. Not just portions like special teams we talked about before, but we just didn't like the feel of it. So tonight gives us a chance to try something new and see if we can get a little bit more rhythm within the lineup.
Can I ask you about Ryan Lomberg?
Sure.
He's really instrumental, isn't he, when it comes to either your messaging or kind of picking guys up after it's not going the group's way.
Mm-hmm.
He said something to me about you guys and your history. You've been the guy that has kind of been the most instrumental for him, even throughout his entire career. He remembers in the American League where you said, look, they want to take you out of the lineup here. You've got to kind of readjust and not sulk, not pout. Do you remember these moments where you kind of have these conversations and you see the leader he is today?
Yeah, it's nice that he would say that for sure. Like I would think that he would have given you someone like Paul with the things that he've learned from him over the last number of years, which I think has made him into the player he is now, where he's like an extension of a coaching staff. Those ones in the minors are always tougher because you don't know how a player is going to take that message. Like, you really like what he's capable of doing, and you, as a coach, you believe in him. But sometimes the player fights an uphill battle. I mean, it's just the way it is based on, personnel and who's ahead of you on the depth chart. So you have to find a way to scratch and claw your way to a point where now you're considered one of those everyday, all the time key people that cannot be put in a conversation to come out. And I think he took that one the right way. So another player that I have a whole ton of time for, just because of his approach on and off the ice right now. He's grown up a lot over the last number of years.
At the morning skate, it looked like Sam Lonzak was back in and on the left side of the line with Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman. What would you like to see from him, and how can Backlund and Coleman potentially help a young player in Lonzak?
Yeah, well, we'll see. He's got one more hurdle to clear, and then we'll be able to know for sure if he's in the lineup or not tonight.
You felt him out there skating on the fourth line. What Anthony will need to do to be useful on that type of line?
It's not anything about the way he's been playing the game. Like we talked about with Eric, changing our lines around after a night that we weren't happy with is one thing, but for him it's making sure that he always moves his feet and uses his size to his advantage, because he's got a skill set that when he's holding on to and protecting pucks, he's a hard player to play against. So drive the feet, use your size, keep being a good player for us in the power play. Nothing really changes for what we're looking for out of him.
You haven't changed your top 4, but it looks like there might be some changes tonight. Just the thought process behind that.
Same to the question that Eric asked. I mean, we didn't have the result we wanted in Vegas, so it wasn't a night where we were enamored with. So we have healthy defensemen, and it's time to get them in the lineup.
Weegar and Pahal together might be. What do you like about that?
Andy and Ball work because Baller's more of a stay-at-home guy. Andy's got a little bit of freedom to go. We know that Pahal is more of a stay-at-home physical defenseman, and Weegs likes to go. So maybe there is something there where they're going to balance each other out a little bit. but you also have now Bean and Barry too, where they're both of them I would consider puck-moving defensemen, and that's something that I thought we were missing in Vegas.